What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-hosts, Colin Alcaves and Will Cohen. Yesterday, we did a little bit of a round one series sweep recap. Today, we're looking more towards the future, towards the second round. We still got a couple days before that's going to begin because the Rangers made such light work of the Capitals that now we get like a week off, a little bit of a rest. But there are still a very large handful of series still ongoing. So for the first part of this episode, kind of want to stray away from just the Rangers talk, kind of do a little bit of a look around the league, take the quick analysis of each series that's still going, give our predictions on who's going to win, and then whoever we decide that the Rangers might be playing in that second round, whether it be Carolina or the Islanders. The second part of today's episode, we'll be doing a little bit of a preview of what that series might look like and what could be in store for that. But before we do all that good stuff, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. If you're watching us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to give us a 5-star review. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below on our official round two predictions that are happening about 4 games in. So if we get any of these wrong, I'd be kind of sad. And lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But before we really get into it, Colin, how are you doing? And then give me your first series prediction, any series that you think you might know the answer to who's winning.
All right. Well, first off, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I know I took the day off yesterday, so it's good to be back in the pod. In terms of my series predictions, I got to think about who's playing each other here. I'm really hoping that the Stars are able to beat Vegas, but I don't feel too confident enough in making that my prediction. I think that tonight, do the Maple Leafs play tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is our last game of the season. I think that the core is done. I think that the Bruins will be moving on to the next round.
Mitch Marner, you are a Utah Yeti.
Sure.
We'll talk about that once Fireside Utah drops in a couple months. But we can start with the Leafs versus the Bruins. I didn't say it in the intro, but obviously, yes, the Rangers have advanced. Last night, the Florida Panthers defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning, and so they're the second team to advance. And today we have the opportunity to see 4 more teams advance. One of them is the Boston Bruins over the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm kind of with you there, Colin. I think it's their last. It's the Leafs' last game of the season tonight. Austin Matthews likely not playing due to illness. They've been without Nylander for the first couple games. Marner has just been terrible. Something's not working in Toronto, and I think, unfortunately, tonight the Boston Bruins will advance. But, Will, just to officially welcome you to this episode, how are you doing? And give me your stance on Game 5 of the Bruins versus the Maple Leafs.
I'm not even going to say how I'm doing because I think everyone knows what's going to happen, what I'm going to say.
You're
Every
tired.
single episode. I'm tired. I went to the gym today. I was productive, showered, and I'm very tired, but happy to be back on the pod. Obviously, like Colin, I wasn't here yesterday either, so I'm excited to, give my reaction to the Rangers next series. Probably against the Hurricanes, but my series prediction, I think that Dallas and Vegas goes to 7 games and Vegas wins, which is my original prediction.
Yeah. In my bracket, I did have the Golden Knights defeating the Stars. That looks a lot better after 2 games when Vegas was up 2-0. But then now Dallas has stormed back. The road team has won every single game. Now it's tied 2-2, heading back to Dallas. So we'll see if the pattern continues. But I really hope Dallas wins just because whenever Vegas loses, everyone else wins. But at the end of the day, like I always say, I'm not scared of any team. But in the ranking of fearfulness, I'm more scared of Dallas than I would be of Vegas. I would like to see the number 1 team in the West just knocked off in the first, and that'd be nice. But I don't know, Colin, how are you feeling about Dallas and Vegas?
I want Dallas so bad. I hate Vegas. I think they're a way better team. I think that that with all those players coming back from injury and their circumventing of the cap, well, you want to consider it cheating or not. I think that they're a more loaded team. I think that they have a lot more depth. I think that they have one of the best D-cores in the league, and their goalies are sound too. So I'm really hoping the Stars are able to pull it out. And I'm going to say that if the Stars do pull it out, that I will be purchasing a Jason Robertson jersey. You can quote me on that. Lock it in here. I'm a big fan for the rest of it.
We'll definitely lock it in. Here's another series that could potentially end tonight. The Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks lead 3-1. I think of all the teams that are down 3-1 in their series, which is a lot, I think the Predators have a decent chance at potentially making the comeback, only because Thatcher Demko is out for the series. Vancouver's on their third string goalie now. Obviously, the Predators haven't been able to capitalize on that these last few games, but I don't. Maybe they won't make the full comeback, but I definitely think that there's a good chance they extend the series at least one more game by winning in Game 5 tonight on home ice. Wait, no, on the road, but then they go home for Game 6. Who knows at that point? But we'll see. I like the Predators, so I might be a little biased. But Will, how do you feel about that series?
I don't know. Like, it's so like I'm kind of just like in the middle. I could see the Predators, at least winning maybe 2 more games, forcing a Game 7. But at the same, well, because Silvos is in net, obviously the Canucks are down to their third string goalie, but the Canucks are such an offensive powerhouse, and you see it, you saw it. Was it Sunday? I think yes, Sunday when they came back down 3-1, very late in the third period. So even though Silvos obviously third string goalie, not the best, I still think that the Canucks offense is good enough to match any goal, like match the Predators when it comes to scoring. So I don't know. I think the Canucks close this series out tonight.
Yeah, how do you feel, Colin?
I think Nashville is the team of the day. I think that the Predators had that one and had that last game in hand, and they kind of let it slip. So I think I think that they're going to be coming back this time, knowing what they have to do, and they got to finish games here. They can't take their foot off the gas at any point because this Canucks team, as Will stated, is very dangerous on offense. They're an absolute unit, and then they have probably the Norris winner this year in Quinn Hughes on the back end, and some pretty stable workhorses back there as well, making the life of the goalie a little bit easier. Because I think prior to Sunday, Silvos only had like 8 starts in the NHL or 12, or really, really not a large amount. So their goal is to just try and make his life as easy as possible, and I think they're doing their best at limiting the chances here for Nashville. But I still think that Nashville's just too good to drop to, especially in a row in that fashion. I think that they're going to go up big tonight, and they're not going to relinquish the lead this time.
Yeah. We have a few more series left that I just want to quickly go over, because I feel like it's the same story for both, in my opinion, at least. Edmonton is up 3-1 over LA. I don't think there's a shot in the world that LA has. I think the next time they play, that series is done and over with. To me, it's the same thing for Colorado and Winnipeg. Yes, I know that Winnipeg was like the higher seed heading into the series, but I've always felt like they weren't going to move on to the second round. I'm not shocked that Colorado, who is a very good playoff team, is dominating them 3-1. Maybe the Jets win one more game tonight, but I think then Colorado just closes it out at home in 6. So to me, those series are all said and done, in my opinion. And if you guys disagree, feel free to share your piece, and then we'll get into the last series.
I agree. I think the Islanders and Hurricanes end tonight. I agree with the Oilers and the Kings. I think tomorrow the Oilers close that series out, and then did we talk about Boston? Oh no, Winnipeg. Sorry, Winnipeg. Yeah, unless Connor Hellebuck becomes Connor Hellebuck again, which he has not this entire play in the 4 games they've played in the playoffs so far. That's the only way they're going to be able to mount a comeback. But I don't think that happens. Hellebuck's a choker. Avalanche winning in 5 tonight. Sorry, tonight.
Yeah, tonight. There's four series can be closed out tonight. Boston can beat the Leafs, the Hurricanes can beat the Islanders, the Avalanche can beat the Jets, and the Canucks can beat the Predators. So it could go from 2 to 6 of the 8 second round teams confirmed by the end of the night. But Will, you briefly mentioned it. The last series, and the most important one, if you're a Rangers fan, is the fact that Carolina is up 3-1 on the Islanders. I don't see the Islanders making the comeback at all. I think you both agree with me, which would then theoretically make the Rangers' second round opponent the Carolina Hurricanes. They would meet once again So let's transition into the second part of this episode of just what would that series look like? Because to me, it sounds a damn lot harder than the Washington Capitals. A team that's statistically the worst team in playoff history to a team that I think finished third overall in the league that we're already facing in the second round. So again, I'm not scared of anyone, but the Hurricanes, I'm not enthusiastic about playing them is I guess a good way to say it. Rangers need to skate hard, play harder, take way less penalties. I saw a tweet yesterday that said I'm going to be missing first line Sonny Milano the next time Jake Gensel and Andrei Svechnikov are coming down on a 2-on-1 against Eric Gustafsson or something along those lines. But it's going to take a lot of work. I don't know, Colin. How do you What's your? I know nothing's confirmed yet. These are all predictions, but if that does end up being the series, how are you feeling about it?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a step up for sure. You mentioned it before. We're going from statistically one of the worst teams in the playoffs this year to one of the better ones. It's not like a clear cut. This series can go either way. That's how it's going to be. It's not. There's no favorites or anything like that. Every game is going to be an absolute bloodbath and a battle, just like it was in the regular season. I think the Rangers just have to play a very disciplined game. And their power play are both not going to be nearly as effective as they were against the Capitals. The special team, just because the Canes' penalty kill is extremely good and their power play is just as good, if not better. So where special teams kind of controlled the last series, I feel like that won't be the case at this point. It's just going to be goaltending, strong defense, and play it 5-on-5, which during the stretch of the regular season was a real struggle for us. It's looked a little bit better since the playoffs started, and it was really good in the beginning of the season. So hopefully, they can get back to that. But Freddie Anderson isn't the best goalie in the world. You just got to light him up. So as long as Panarin's going out there throwing seven shots on him in the first game, and everybody's kind of got that shoot first mindset, and we're lighting him up like a Christmas tree, goals will happen. They'll trickle through. It's just about being consistent and just tossing.
And just to add on, it's a series like this where the President's Trophy really comes into play, where I'm a lot more confident thinking about it, knowing that we have home ice advantage over the Hurricanes. Like that race we were following all the way to the end with the Canes. Thank goodness we beat them and finish with home ice, because if we didn't have it, again, I would still think we'd win, but I'd be a little less confident. But Will, how are you feeling about a potential Rangers versus Hurricanes playoff series in the second round?
I gotta pull something up real quick just to see this. All right, so the Canes are a little bit better at home than on the road, so kind of it's nice that that, like you said, Eric, the President's Trophy comes into play right now, because obviously we have home ice, and the Carolina Hurricanes do not. And I know last time we played, when we didn't have home ice, we went down 2-0. Obviously, had to climb out that hole and did, but this time it's a little different. Obviously, the Canes are a better team than they were in 2021. But I think this series goes to 7 games minimum. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's going to be a very stressful series. It will probably take years off everyone's lives. Every Rangers fan's lives will have years taken off of them because of this series. It's going to be very physical. The Rangers are going to have to play better 5v5 than they did against the Capitals, but I also think it was the Capitals. They were able to coast a little bit because they knew they were able to beat them. Obviously, swept them. So, but they got to play like how they did the last time they played in March. I know it was only 1-0. There needs to be a little bit more sprinkle of offense, but the defense have to find their game with the 1-3-1 trap. They need to play hard defense. They have to be physical with the Hurricanes. They have to match that. They have to match the physicality and speed. But yeah, this series is going to be very stressful. I'm very sorry they're cutting our grass outside, but yeah, this series is going to 7 games minimum. It's gonna be a horrible one. I'm not excited. I'm actually pretty stressed about it.
Honestly, I have things I want to add and a question as well. Did the Carolina Hurricanes play us since Rempe's joined the lineup?
Yeah, we shut them out.
No, he didn't play. That was the first game he was suspended.
So they have not power of Remania, the Rempire State Building stuff.
I don't think he plays in the second round. I think Hito comes back.
He's going to put Tony D'Angelo in the first, the upper bowl. Well, what's it called? So there's that, and then there's a stat I wanted to point out. I'm not sure, and I don't know if either of you saw it, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But there was a stat that I saw that said, I think it's either the President's Trophy team or just a team that sweeps in the first round has been to the Cup 45% of the time, or made it to the finals 45% of the time.
It was the President's Trophy winner who sweeps in the first round.
There's two different stats that I wanted to bring up. The first one that you said, Colin, it's teams that sweep in the first round specifically, 45% of them make it to the finals. There's no stat about them winning, but the one about winning is teams that win the President's Trophy and sweep in the first round. It's only happened 5 times. They've won the Stanley Cup 60% of the time. So 3 out of 5 times that both won the President's Trophy and swept in the first round, they've won the Stanley Cup. The other 2 that didn't win the Stanley Cup lost in the second round. So according to history, we're either going to lose to the Hurricanes this round or win the Stanley Cup. There's no in between.
And there's one last point I also wanted to bring up here, and this is.
Well, when you're not talking, you got to mute your mic, dude. I hear the lawnmower.
What's it called? It's not so. It's just as much of a knock on the Islanders as it is the Hurricanes. The fact that the Islanders have played all these games relatively close, I think bodes very well for us because the Islanders are not a great team. I get it; they made it in the 3rd spot. And power to them. Backbone by some strong goaltending down the stretch, but they're not a super offensive team. Their defense isn't great. They play good scheme, a good system, and Patrick Waugh has done good things for them. But these games have been close. I mean, the Islanders were leading one of them and blew it, and let them score 3 goals in like 2 minutes at the end of a game.
It'd be a 2-2 series right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like this series could be completely different. And so, while 3-1 is very deceiving, the Islanders have played all these games very close. There hasn't been a blowout win or blowout loss, in my opinion. I feel like most of the games are pretty close. I'm not entirely sure. I forget how the first one or the first 2 went.
I don't remember.
But regardless, it's just
Game 2 was when they blew the lead.
What was Game 3?
I don't know. Game 4 was obviously the overtime game. I don't know.
I thought 3 was the one they blew the lead.
I thought they blew the lead in Carolina. Let me check.
I'm pretty sure Game 3 they blew the lead.
Game 2 they blew the lead. They blew the lead in Carolina, and then they lost 3-2.
Yeah, that's right.
Game 3, and then lost 3-1 in Game 1.
So all the games have been close. I mean, this is a very close series, and the Hurricanes are supposed to be the super team, loaded top to bottom with talent, and they're struggling to get past the measly Islanders. I think that bodes well for the Rangers. I think that if the Rangers can stay true to their game and play their style, and just be really sound defensively, and hopefully, take a little bit of pressure off of Igor, I think that it looks good. I'm definitely more comfortable than I have been in the past. Not saying that this is going to be an easy series by any means, and just because you play poorly against one team doesn't guarantee that you'll play poorly against another. They're just playing down like the Rangers do sometimes, and they'll clean it up and make this series a lot harder on us than it should be. But I think that this series is definitely a winnable series. I think that the Rangers are going into the better team. I mean, on paper they are because they won the President's Trophy. But I think that overall, if you just look at how they've been playing recently, I think the Rangers have only not led a game for like 5 minutes in the entire series.
It was 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
There you go.
Exact.
Batman Will would have it. But and the Hurricanes have not led for almost entire games. So, I think it's just, and I get it. We also played the Capitals, but we made short work of our measly opponents. Whereas the Hurricanes are, while they have the series lead, struggling in a sense. So I think that's definitely something to pay attention to. I'm hoping that the Islanders, it's one of the few times you'll ever hear me say it, win tonight, just to make them work a little bit harder, and so they come into the series a little bit more tired and a little bit more banged up, bruised, and battered going into round 2.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's kind of it's weird to like look forward towards it, like into the future, just because of how simple the first round was. And like you said, their Capitals only led for just over 3 minutes. That's not going to be the case against Carolina, even though they've been playing bad against the Hurricanes. I mean, against the Islanders. Like it's gonna be a lot different. It's gonna be a different vibe. And who knows? Maybe we make this video right now talking about this potential matchup for 10 minutes, and then a few days later, it's confirmed we play against the Islanders in the second round. Who knows? Like if the Hurricanes aren't that dominant, continue to not be dominant, maybe the series shifts momentum. Who knows? But I'm about ready to wrap it up unless either of you have anything more to add.
Sound good to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go too.
All right. Well, I know for sure that I will be watching tonight's slate of games just to see if our predictions are correct and to see who the Rangers from the West we might potentially run into at some point in the next couple of months. But we'll talk about that if we get there. Oh, and there's my mom. It's 2 episodes in a row she appears in. Sorry about that. Hey, Bingo.
Hey, Bingo.
Look at him. I wanted to get him in.
But that about wraps up today's predictions and I guess series projection for a series that isn't confirmed yet. It's a little weird, but we're in a little bit of a weird dead space in between series, and there's not that much to talk about. So if you have any cool video ideas, be sure to drop them in the comment section below, as well as your predictions for tonight's games, as well as the rest of the series moving forward. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss notification if you're watching us on Apple or Spotify. Be sure to give us a 5-star review. And lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. Have a good one, and let's go
Rangers.